Good day, everyone. Welcome to our subject, the teacher and school curriculum. But before we start to our discussion proper, allow me to introduce my groupmate, Miss Rhea Migubrana. So I will be the first reporter, and Miss Rhea Migubrana is the second reporter. So our topic for today is all about the curriculum evaluation through learning assessment. So first we have the Philippine Qualification Framework or the PQF. So the Philippine Qualifications Framework is a system that sets national standards for education and training qualification in the Philippines. It outlines what individuals learn through formal schooling and other experiences, promoting lifelong learning. For example, if someone completes a vocational training program, the PQF defines their skill level and competencies, helping employers understand their qualifications. This ensures that education aligns with industry needs and that individuals can demonstrate their skills effectively. So next we have the level and competency descriptors required for each level for basic and higher education levels. So we have the PQF1 or the grade 12, PQF6 the baccalaureate degree, PQF7 the master's degree, and the PQF8 doctoral and postdoctoral degree. So we have the domain, the knowledge, skills, and values, application, and degree of independence. So first, the grade 12 or the PQF1. It's about students gain functional knowledge and technical skills. They learn to apply this knowledge in real life situations and make decisions independently under minimal supervision. For example, a student can analyze a science project using basic research skills to solve problems with minimal supervision. So second is the PQF6. It's about students broaden their understanding within a discipline. They apply deeper knowledge in professional context and work independently or in teams. For example, a college student develop a marketing strategy for a business class project using research and teamwork. So next we have the PQF7 or the master's degree. It's about learners gain deeper expertise in a field. They work independently on advanced research and apply these insights in their professions. For example, a student writes a thesis on educational reforms using critical analysis of a case study. Second is I know, the last one is the PQF8 or the doctorate or postdoctoral. So in here, students generate new knowledge and lead research in their field. They work independently and mentor others. So for example, a researcher creates a novel approach to climate change analysis and leads a team in its implementation. So we're done with the level and competency. Next, we have the learning level. We have the level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. Okay, so in level 1, it's about focuses on basic factual knowledge. Students are expected to understand key concepts. So the sample guide questions here are: what do you want your students to know in terms of facts, concepts, procedure, and multiple thinking? For example, parts of the body, is the sky blue? What? How to dissect a frog? Describe a typhoon. So next, we have the level 2, or the processes. It emphasizes applying knowledge through hands-on activities to make sense of what they learned. So in here, what do you want your students to do with what they know? Example, dissect a frog and identify the different major body parts. So let's dive into level 3, or the understanding. It involves connecting ideas to form broader understandings. So in here, what do you want students to understand? For example, how do the element of weather interact to produce climate change? Another example is students learn how different weather patterns interact to create climate changes. So last is the level 4. It's about product or performance. Students demonstrate their learning through project, portfolios, or performances. So in here, does your portfolio display evidence to show learning outcomes achieved? Second, can you create a one-act play to show the principles of dramatization? And number 3, the last one, what research paper can you undergo to report on the conservation of indigenous plants? Another thing is students create a research project on the effects of pollution on local ecosystem. So now let's move on to assessment tools for each level of learning outcomes. So when we say the knowledge, process, understanding, or KPU learning outcomes, so in school, learning outcomes, knowledge, process, and understanding play a crucial role in students' development. So for instance, students learn historical facts, knowledge, it is about knowledge because the students learn about historical facts. So they apply them in discussion or projects. So it is the process and understand the relevance in today's society. So from the word understand, it's about understanding. So this approach helps students make connections between their education and real life situation, preparing them to analyze issues critically and make informed decisions. Assessment like projects and presentations can gauge these outcomes, enhancing students' readiness for future challenges. So now let's move on to the types of tests to measure knowledge, process, and understanding. So first we have the objective test. Tests that require only one correct answer. It is difficult to construct but easy to check. So for So this is all about these tests require students to select one correct answer, making them easy to grade. However, creating these tests can be challenging as they must accurately reflect the content taught. For example, a multiple choice quiz on vocabulary allows students to show their understanding by picking the correct definition from given options. So now let's move on to pencil and paper test. As the name suggests, the test written on paper and requires a pencil to write. However, in our modern times, a pencil and paper test can also be translated to an electronic version, which makes the test paperless. So traditionally, these tests involve writing answers on paper, but they can also be conducted electronically, making them paperless. An example is a math exam where students solve problems either on paper or through an online platform, allowing for immediate feedback while maintaining the same testing format. So next is the simple recall. Simple recall is a straightforward tool designed to measure knowledge by asking students to remember specific information. This method typically involves direct questions that require students to retrieve facts or concepts they have learned. For instance, students may be asked to list the countries in Asia or recall important historical dates. This type of assessment effectively gauges how well students have retained information, providing teachers with insight into areas that may need further review or reinforcement. So next is the alternative response test. Alternative response tests present students with two choices, such as true or false, to assess their understanding. This paper and pencil test format allows students to indicate their answer quickly and efficiently. Questions can be phrased as statements or direct inquiries, making it adaptable for various subjects. So, for example, students might respond to statements about scientific facts on or historical events. This type of assessment is useful for quickly gauging students' comprehension of essential concepts and facts within a broader curriculum. So now let's talk about the multiple choice test. Multiple choice tests are considered one of the most versatile assessment tools because they can measure a variety of learning outcomes. In this format, a student selects the correct answer from several provided options. These tests can assess different cognitive levels from basic recall to higher order thinking. For example, a multiple choice quiz may ask students to analyze a text and select the best interpretation of its themes. This flexibility makes multiple choice tests widely used in various subjects and grade levels. Finally, we have the matching type of test. So it consists of two parallel columns where students connect items from one column to the appropriate answers in the other. The first column typically presents a premise or problem, while the second column contains potential answer. For example, students might match terms with their definitions or historical figures with their accomplishments. This type of test assesses students' understanding of relationship between concepts and help reinforce the learning by encouraging them to think critically about connections. So, next we have the imperfect matching type. In this assessment, the number of premises in column A does not equal the number of responses in column B. Responses or premises can be used more than once, allowing for greater flexibility. So, for example, students might match terms with multiple definitions demonstrating their understanding of various contexts. So, this format encourages critical thinking and show how concept or how demonstrating their understanding of various contexts. This format encourages critical thinking and show how concepts relate to one another. Okay, so next is the imperfect type test. The number of premises in column A is not equal to the number of the responses in column B, or the other way around. The response or the premise can be used more than once. So next is the subjective test. Subjective tests assess learning outcomes by allowing students to originate and express their ideas, which can be challenging to measure through objective tests. In this format, students provide answers based on reflections, insights, and opinions, often in essay form. For example, a student might be asked to discuss the themes of literary work. The type of assessment fosters deeper understanding and critical thinking as students articulate their viewpoints and analysis. Okay, so we have the essay. Essay test items provide students with the freedom to respond in their own words, allowing them to express their ideas, analysis, and reflections. This format encourages create creativity and critical thinking, for students can select relevant information and relate it to the topic at hand. So next we have the restricted response items. So when we say restricted response items, these are similar to an expanded version of short answer test. In this format, there are specific limits in both the content scope and the form of the student's response. So lastly, let's talk about the extended response items. So when we say extended response items, it gives students the flexibility to choose any factual information that aids in organizing the response. This type of assessment allows students to explore topics in greater depth using a range of facts and insight to support their arguments. So in conclusion, okay, so this is the last part of my this that was the last part of my discussion. So in conclusion, I hope you found value in exploring types of tasks and measure knowledge, process, and understanding and their impact on students' learning. Each assessment methods offer unique opportunities for students to express their creativity and critical thinking, shaping them into informed individuals ready for the future. So now it is my pleasure to introduce our next presenter, Ms. Rhea May Gabrena, who will continue to enlighten us with her insights on our topic. Thank you for your attention and let's keep the inspiration flowing. Thank you, everyone.
Good day, everyone. I am Remy Pigabrena, and I will be the last reporter for this group. So now let's first talk about the types of essay items. So there are two types of essay items that measures the complex learning of outcomes. So first we have the restricted response essay items. So what do you mean by restricted response essay items? So it is specific, limited in scope, and typically focus on the measurement on the student's ability to perform a relationship describing or defined task. So, when we talk about the restricted response essay item, it is limited in scope. So, from the word restricted, it is limited. So, um, in the restricted response essay items, this task may include the explaining of cause and effect relationship, describe application of principle, formulate valid conclusion, enumerate and explain methods and procedure. So these answers are usually short and follow a clear structure with limited space or content. So next we have the extended response essay items. So from the word extended, it is it can be they can explore with that specific topic. It can be an open-ended, no? So because it is extended, so students will be able to have a more freedom to explore with that specific topic. So this item assess the ability to organize ideas, integrate the learning, design experiment, and evaluate the worth of ideas. So, when we talk about extended response essay items, so from the word extended, students have freedom to explore more with that specific topic because it is extended. Not unlike restricted response essay item, it is only limited. So these essay items, the answer are usually more open-ended. Just like what I said earlier, it is an open-ended, allowing for creativity and comprehension analysis. So those are the two um, types of essay that measure the complex learning outcome. We have the restricted and extended response essay items. Next, we have the next topic. We have the assessment PUP for measurement authentic learning performance and products or key PUP. So let us define first what is authentic evaluation. So, authentic evaluation is a common test of authentic assessment or performance assessment and the use of portfolio. So, when we talk about authentic evaluation, it is an evaluation where we will be able to check if the students really learn or really learn something with our subject or our topic. So, we'll be able to check if the student understand or doesn't understand our topic. First, let's talk about the performance assessment tool. So, um, for example, is the student will be able to perform or do the hands-on learning. So, we talk about performance assessment tool. These are the tools that the teacher use to evaluate the students' learning or to evaluate if the students have this practical skill or the real world application knowledge, if he or she really apply the knowledge or the learning from the specific topic. So there are three types of assessment tools. We have the checklist, rating scales, and a rubric portfolio. So let us discuss this one by one. First, let's talk about the checklist. So when we talk about checklist, it is a tool that consists of a list of qualities that are expected to observe as presented as present or absent. So the presence is to be marked check and the absence will be marked X. So when we talk about the checklist, it is the qualities that the student have with that specific um, performance or um, or activity. So this is an example of checklist, just like presented in the screen. So it is example of checklist because it observes the students' qualities. If the students have that quality, then will be marked that as check. If the student doesn't have that quality, we will mark that X as absence. So that is a what we call a checklist. Next, we have the um, rating scale. So, rating scale is a tool that uses a scale in a number line as basis to estimate the numerical value of a performance or a product. So, the value is easier to score if the points are in the whole numbers. So, the most popular rating scale is called the Likert scale. So, rating scale uses numerical numbers. So, when we talk about rating scale, it assigns numerical values to students' performance or products. For example, if you rate it from 1 to 10, so if the students' rate is 10, so we will know that the students are, if it's like very satisfied with our topic or with our discussion. So next topic, we have the rubrics for portfolio. So when we talk about the rubrics for portfolio, it is the total learning experience as presented, the whole holistic package, and a use assessment tool that is called a rubric utilized. So when we talk about portfolio first, it is a common compilation of experiences of authentic learning. So just like what we did in our elementary and secondary days, no, we had our portfolio, and with that portfolio, will our activities like or our project will be compiled. So our teacher will be able to check if we learn or we really had a good learning with that whole semester or whole grading. So with that portfolio, teacher usually use rubrics to grade easier. So with that rubrics, the students will be guided with a portfolio. So we'll be guided what are the things that we should include in our portfolio to have a better grades, right? So we'll be able to check if as a future teacher, we will be able to check if the student really understand with that specific topic of what are the things that the students, what are the things that we need to improve for our students, or what are the discussion way that we need to change for our students to learn more about that specific topic. So those are the um, types of performance assessment tools, and each of the tool is valued for assessing different aspects of performance, from procedural accuracy to the quality of outcome. So I hope you learn in that topic about the performance assessment tool. No, because it is very important for us future teachers to really know these performance assessment tools. So next we have the levels of assessment for the levels of learning outcomes. So um, levels of assessment describe the levels of learning outcome, which are first, knowledge, second, process or skills, third, understanding, fourth, we have the products or performance. So these levels of learning outcome are also used to describe the level of learning outcome that are also level of assessment. So in other words, the level of assessment follow also the level of thinking skill from lower to higher level. So let us define these levels of learning outcome one by one. So first we have the um, level 1 knowledge. So when we talk about the knowledge, this is the foundation level where students are assessed on their ability to recall fact, basic information by answering the question who, what, how, and why. When, how, and why. So this type of assessment is in the paper, pencil and paper, or non-paper and pencil assessment. So this can be done through, just like what I've said, the pencil paper or the non-paper and pencil. So the percentage of this value is 15%. So this is what we call the knowledge. So what the students learned with that specific problem. Who are who are the people in that specific topic, what, when, how, and why. So that is the first level of learning outcome assessment. We have the knowledge. Next, we have the level 2, we have the process skills. So when we talk about the process skills, so at the end of this level, students evaluate on their ability to construct meaning from knowledge, such as analyzing data, making inferences, and solving problems. So this assessment will be able to learn if the student really learn from this topic, because from that knowledge they will be able to construct meaning, or they will be able to have their own definition or their own understanding. So the type of assessment for this process skills is the pencil and paper, or the non-paper and pencil. So this level of learning outcome assessment percentage value is 25%. So next level we have the last level, we have the level 2 understanding. Um, from the word understanding, this higher level assess the demonstrate ability to explain, interpret, apply concept, and demonstrate empathy or perspective and taking. So from the word understanding, an example for this is the insights for the activities that the teacher discussed, just like what we did in our um, high school, elementary days, and also in our tertiary grade. Um, just like what we did in our um, compare building enhances subjects. So we watched the video, and the teacher asked us to do insights for that video, or what are our understanding, what we learned from that specific topic or specific video. And the type of assessment for that level is the explanation, interpretation, application, empathy, perspective, and self-knowledge, big ideas, principle, and generalization. So the percentage value in this assessment is 30%. So each level of corresponding progressively deeper thinking skills, moving from knowledge acquisition to applying synthesizing ideas in more complex way. So that is all the three level of learning outcomes assessment. We have the knowledge, the process skills, and the understanding. Now let us proceed to the placing value to assessment results from KPUP to written works performance task quarterly exam. So, while the KPUP is utilized in the grading system, however, it has been slightly modified by WW or the work written works, PT or performance task QE for quarterly exam. So, a summative assessment is composed of written works, performance tasks, and quarterly assessment. So let us define this one by one. So first we have the written work. So it is a component of a summative assessment. So the purpose for this is to assess the learner's understanding of the concept and application of skills in written form. It prepares learner for quarterly assessment. And when it be given is at the end of the topic or unit. So just like what we did usually, like after the topic we'll have our short quiz, a short exam for us to for the teacher to check if we really understand that specific topic. So just like no, usually after the specific topic, our teacher will be doing some short activities or assessment after the topic. So that is an written works. So next we have the performance task. So from the word performance task, it is the application of our learning in real life or in hands-on activities. So it will be given in the lesson focusing on the topic skills lesson or several times during the quarter. So just like what I usually did, like for example, now if our teacher give us the topic and will be doing that in a role play or in we will be making our own poem with that specific topic. So that is an example of performance task. So next we have the quarterly assessment. So when we talk about quarterly assessment, this is the assessment that usually we usually had or have in our like first grading, second grading. From our elementary or secondary days, we have the first grading, second grading, and third grading, fourth grading also. That like in our tertiary level, we have the midterm and finals. So next we have this one, the grades at the end of the school year and how these are computed. So with this specific level, there are different way of how we'll be able to grade our students. First, in kindergarten, they usually use the checklist because it is under the kindergarten curriculum. So um, just like my nephew had, they have the checklist with that um, specific quality of the student. If the student know how to identify colors, identify shape, or write their name properly, so that is how they grade in the kindergarten. In the grade 1 to 10 or junior high, they grade their student by quarter grades, and they get the general average for the final grade. So just like here, the components of usually in the first grade 1 to 10 is the written works, performance tasks, and quarterly assessment. So we all know that in the different subject, they have their um, specific percentage with that written works, performance tasks, and quarterly assessment. No, just like in MAPE, music, arts, P, and health. So it is more on hands-on learning. So the higher percentage of that components is the performance task because it is a more on a hands-on learning or the real life application learning. So next we have the grade 11 to grade 10 or the senior high. So the average of the quarterly grade produces the semester grades. So like first semester, second semester, no, like they have the grade by that specific semester. So their general average also they computed by dividing the sum of all semestral final grades by the total number of learning areas. So senior high, this is the senior high school grading component. So we can see the written work still, written works, performance test, and quarterly exam, but different way of like subject, core subject, we have 25%, and all other subjects. So this is an example of the how senior high school be graded. So that is all for the grades at the end of school year and how these are computed. Now we can really tell that there are differences um, with the specific level of uh, the specific grade level, no, because they have their like they a teacher aim to have like um, to have their students to learn more about the specific topic, so they are graded differently, like because it depends on the uh, level of the students. So that's all for the grades are that's all for how the teacher grade with that specific level. So next topic we have the lastly, we have the reporting summative grades by quarter, semester, or at the end of the year. So in this topic we'll be able to learn that like if the students really have a lot of learning at the end of the school year, so or the semester. So the interpretation of the numerical value for our students areas is based on the minimum initial grade of 60 transmuted into the equivalent of 75. So that is the passing grade. That is the passing final grade. It is the 75. So the numerical grade are described in the different level of proficiency in different competencies set in subject areas. So first we have the level of proficiency. It is advanced, proficient, approaching, proficiency, developing, beginning. So the grading scale, if 90% and above, the level of proficiency descriptor is advanced. If 85 to 89 is proficient, 80 to 85 approaching proficiency, 75 to 79 developing, and the beginning is below up to 74. So, by the end of the semester, we'll be able to learn if the student learn learn a lot or need to learn more, right? So, that is why teachers used to have um, grading grading at the end of the semester. So that is why grade is important for the teacher to know that the student really learn with that school year. So that is all for my topic. And if you have any questions or clarification, just ask me. You can just PM or comment in this video. So that's all guys for my topic, and I hope you learned something from it, and have a great day. Thank you.